Welcome into historic Finch Field for round 2 of the American Legion playoffs between Kannapolis Post 115 and the Post 87 High Toms. It's a doubleheader here at historic Finch Field where first the senior High Toms got to play, and now it's the Post 87 High Toms here on a warm evening on a Friday night. And game 2 where the High Toms lead 1-0 in this best-of-5 series for a chance to play in the Area 3 championship game and have the opportunity to go to state. So first, let's get the lineup for the visiting team, Kannapolis Post 115. Hitting first will be Joe Javier. Hitting second will be Daniel Savage. Following him will be Jalen Chambers. Zach Helms will hit in the cleanup spot. Brett Morris will hit fifth. Connor Coy sixth. And the bottom three in the lineup will go as follows: Jaden Johnson, Brooks Hubbard, and Aaron Jones. And they're going to face the right-hand pitcher, the Wingate commit, Dylan Story, who has been the High Toms' best pitcher so far this year for manager Luke Spiva's ball club. And he's on the hill for game 2 of this matchup. Game 1 was at Kannapolis, and games 2, 3, and 5 will be here at Finch Field. Games 4 and 5, if necessary, in this best-of-5 series. So, Joe Javier steps in against Story. His first pitch is inside, ball 1. Here comes the 1-0 pitch. It's fouled off. And right into the bleachers. Get you the Post 87 High Toms starting defense. In left field is going to be Tanner Royals. Yates Sykes will be in center. Jake Little will be in right field. Around the diamond from third to first, Owen Smith, Landon Mowry, Evan Goodwin, and Wyatt Stanley. As that one's blooped into right field, down in foul territory, diving and not able to make the catch is Jake Little. So it goes a foul ball. Good hustle out there by Jake Little. Behind the plate is going to be Kayan Irvin. And the Wingate commit, like I mentioned, Dylan Story on the mound. That last pitch was fouled off. It's 1-2 on Javier. Kannapolis looking to tie the series. Post 87 is looking to extend the lead 2-0 in a best-of-5 series and grab firm command of round 2 of the American Legion playoffs. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's fouled off down the first base line. Once again, welcome into the broadcast. I'm Adam Oppenheim. Here in High Point-Thomasville, where the weather is about 80 degrees. Rain can be expected as well, with about 7 to 8 mile per hour of winds, as that's fouled off by Javier. So it stays at 2 strikes. It's 1-2. It's a really big series for the Post 87 High Toms, and a lot of people around the High Point-Thomasville area think this team is good enough to go very far, and this is just another one of the stepping stones. As they won 2-0 in round 1, as that's a swing and a miss, strike 3 on a breaking ball from Story. So the first out comes on a strikeout of Javier, and the High Toms have 1 down in the top of the first. Daniel Savage is up next for Kannapolis Post 115. Story's kicking his first delivery. It's in the dirt, ball 1. Post 87's had some close playoff games over the recent days. As the 1-0 pitch is outside, ball 2, including a 5-3 win against Moxville Davie, 5-3, and that was in game 2 to advance on to round 2. And then it was a 3-1 win against Kannapolis after the 87s threw out Bryson King, who pitched a 4-hit, 1-run performance, and Landon Mowry added on the top of the 7th with a solo home run in a low-scoring affair. 2-0 pitch. It's a breaking ball that drops in. It's 2-1 on Savage. Story like kicking a fire. It's outside, ball 3. And Post 87 has a lot of options around of who to play. They obviously have their main core guys, but there's been a lot of rotation in the Post 87's team. Team that really breezed through the regular season and is ready for the playoffs after a disappointing last season. So the 3-1 pitch is fouled off. It's a full count on Daniel Savage. Pretty sizable crowd here for the Post 87 High Toms here at Finch Field, including quite a few of the High Toms players staying to watch the younger generation. That's in for another strikeout. Strike 3, so Dylan Story, 2 batters and 2 strikeouts swinging as Savage goes down hacking. Although really I shouldn't be saying the next generation because some of these guys are only a year or 2 apart. Maybe rather the collegiate players. Watching some of the high school kids who are, a lot of them are ready to play in college as that pitch is outside ball 1. To Jalen Chambers, who's going to be pitching and playing DH for Kannapolis. Post 115. The 1-0, it's in the dirt. It's 2-0. Two-0 pitch on the way is hit up the middle. Landon Mowry slides, can't make the stop, and it goes into center field, and it's a 2-out knock for Jalen Chambers. You've seen plenty of times Landon Mowry make some ridiculous sliding plays. That one he could not come up with, just out of his reach. And it brings up Zach Helms in the cleanup spot today. First pitch is in for a strike to Helms. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Helms is behind. It's 0-2. Oh, 2 pitch to Helms. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Dylan Story strikes out 3 in the inning. And Post 87 will be up to bat for the first time in the bottom of the first. No score between Kannapolis, Post 115, and the Post 87 High Toms in round 2 of the American Legion playoffs. Stay with us as you're tuned into High Toms Baseball on High Toms TV. Back here at historic Finch Field, bottom of the first inning. And the first pitch is in the dirt, ball one from Zach Chambers, who is set to face Yates Sykes, who's a West Carolina commit. Part of a few on this post A7 team. Following Sykes will be Landon Mowry. Wyatt Stanley will hit third. Bryce Hooker will be in the cleanup spot. Tanner Royals will hit fifth. Then it will be Owen Smith, Jake Little, Caden Irving, and Evan Goodwin round out the lineup. Facing the lefty, Jalen Chambers, who's a Surrey Community College commit. As not only a pitcher, but plays the infield as well. And is a DH today, as that's in for a strike on Sykes. It's 1-2 on Yates Sykes. It was a great knack to get on base, does the lefty. And time is called. So Kannapolis got one runner on the first, but couldn't move him around, as that's a ground ball towards first base. Scooped up by Helms. Race to the bag. Is in time. Zach Helms beats out Sykes, who went diving head first for out number one in the inning. So good hustle by both players, but Helms beats out Sykes. One out in the top of the first.
Now batting number 12, Landon Mowry.
Here is Landon Mowry, playing shortstop and hitting second today. Had the big solo home run the last game in the top of the seventh, and swings and misses at a pitch out of the zone. Strike one. Post 87 players all sitting on the front of their dugout, trying to make a special run. The next pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. Mowry was fooled by a breaking ball from Chambers. He's down 0-2. Oh, 2 pitch to Mowry. Chopped to the second baseman, Javier, who will charge and field, and it will just be in time. Back-to-back close plays at first base. First base coach Avery Adams, also the head coach of the Scarlets, cannot believe the call. Hands on his head as the first base umpire called out Mowry at first base.
Now batting number 14, Wyatt Stanley.
Here's Wyatt Stanley with 2 outs in the bottom of the first. 2 ground outs. Started the High Times evening batting. As that first pitch is outside of Wyatt Stanley. It's 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Stanley. It's a breaking ball dropped in. It's 1-1. Wyatt Stanley, also committed to play baseball at Western Carolina. Next pitch, it's in the dirt. It's 2-1 to Stanley. Bottom of the first, 2-1 with 2 outs. And Wyatt Stanley hitting third for the High Times at the plate, who just ducks out of the way of that pitch. That rode way inside. From Jalen Chambers. Three and 1 on Stanley. He's in a hitter's count. Here's the pitch. It's hit to the shortstop, Aaron Jones, who leaps. He can't make the catch as it just gets over his outstretched glove. So Wyatt Stanley's aboard with a 1-out single.
Now batting number 18, Bryce Hooker.
So that brings up Bryce Hooker, who's usually in the lineup. Sometimes as the designated hitter, sometimes behind the plate. He'll be the DH today in Game 2 Look at Stanley on first base and delivers to Hooker, who fouls the pitch off into the netting. It's 0-1 on Bryce Hooker with Stanley on first base. Chambers takes a look on Stanley at first base. Now here comes the 0-1 from Chambers. The breaking ball misses outside, ball 1. One and one count on Hooker. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball once again misses in the same spot. Trying to get the backdoor breaker, and instead it's 2-1 on Bryce Hooker. Tanner Royals waits on deck. Here comes the 2-1 delivery. It's hit up into the air into right field. Daniel Savage giving chase near the foul line. He makes the catch, and just in fair territory to retire the side. High Tom Strand won in the inning. We go to the second. No score between Kannapolis post 115 and the post 87 High Toms. You're watching post 87 High Toms baseball. Welcome back to Finch Fields. It'll be Brett Morris to lead off the top of the second for Kannapolis post 115. Both teams get a runner on in the first inning on a 2-out hit. And Strand, the runner at first base, as that first pitch is in for a strike to Morris. And Dylan Story set for his second inning of work. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's a breaking ball, and it's flown out into right field. Jake Little is under it. And he makes the easy grab in right to retire Morris, so 1 out. Next up is going to be Connor Coy, the catcher.
Batting out, number 1, Connor Coy.
So Story has started off retiring 4 of the first 5 batters he's faced. First pitch to Coy is fouled right back into the netting. Oh, and 1 on Connor Coy. Here's Story's pitch, way outside. It's 1-1. The 1-1 pitch from Story. It's a little bit low. It's 2-1. Had a beautiful evening for a playoff baseball game. In round 2 of the American Legion playoffs, the High Times lead 1-0 after a 3-1 win at Kannapolis. Here's the 2-1 delivery. It's inside. It's 3-1. Three-one pitch to Coy's, drill down to left field. Tanner Royals is right there to catch the line out from Connor Coy, who hit it well, but it was right at the left fielder, Tanner Royals. So 2 flyouts in the inning. That brings up Jaden Johnson. Story's first pitch to Johnson's outside, ball 1.
Batting now number 25, Jaden Johnson.
1-0 pitch to Johnson. It's grabbed a little bit high by Irving. 2-0 pitch to Johnson. It's outside, ball 3. So 3-0 to Jaden Johnson. Dylan Story's 3-0 delivery. It's in for a strike. Right down the middle. Three-one pitch. It's hit on the ground to Landon Mowry. Fields it off a couple of hops. Fires on to first in time. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Dylan Story in the second. We head to the bottom of the second. No score between Kannapolis Post 115 and the Post 87 High Times in round 2 of the American Legion playoffs. Stay with us as you're watching the Post 87 High Times. Tanner Royals will be first up for the Post 87 High Times here in the bottom of the second against Jalen Chambers. Complete his first inning of work, allowing 1 hit to Wyatt Stanley. First pitch is low to Tanner Royals. It's 1-0. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's in for a strike on the lower portion of the zone. So the count's even at 1. 1-1 pitch. It's fouled off. And off the catcher, Coy. So it's 1-2. On the leadoff man in the inning for Post 87, Tanner Royals. In what's been a low-scoring game 1 and possibly a low-scoring series. And it's going to be a lot about pitching. Well, the High Times up 1-0 with 3 out of the next 4 games at home, which is a very positive thing. And, of course, Post 87's hoping to not go to Game 5. Or 4, rather, but both games are, if necessary, in a best-of-5 series. 1-2 to Tanner Royals. Here's the pitch. Fouled into the netting behind home plate. One and 2 to Tanner Royals. Here's Chambers' delivery. It's inside into the backstop. That was 2-2 on Royals. Seems like the weather could be a factor here with a little bit of rain having a good chance of coming down soon, unfortunately. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Royals. It's in the dirt, and it's ball 4, rather. So Royals would go on down to first after a leadoff walk. So there was 3 balls in the count, and that was the 4th. And it brings up Owen Smith. Leadoff runner, Royals on first base. Has a tendency to try to steal bases. One of the faster guys on the Post 87 roster is Owen Smith. Takes it on the inside corner, strike 1. And you certainly think in a game that could be low scoring, Luke Spivey will be pretty aggressive on the bases as a manager. At time gives the X sign to Royals, and that pitch is fouled off down the first base line. So lefty Chambers has jumped 0-2 ahead of Owen Smith. Looking for his first strikeout of the game. Chambers takes a look at Royals, delivers to the plate. It's low and inside. It's 1-2. That pitch is a little bit down. It's 2-2. So 0-2 to 2-2. Here comes a 2-2 pitch to Smith. It's chopped down the ground to the shortstop Jones. Only play is to first. He makes it in time as Royals moves on down to second. A bounding ball that made Jones go to his right. And the only choice he had was to throw to Zach Helms at first base. So Kannapolis goes 6-3 to retire Owen Smith. And now Tanner Royals is in scoring position. And it's Jake Little up next for the High Toms. First pitch to Little. Swung on and missed. Strike 1. Oh, 1 pitch to Little. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Rather, that pitch was fouled off, but either way, it's an 0-2 count on Little. Caden Irving, the catcher, is on deck. Oh, 2 pitch to Little. It's outside and it gets past the catcher Coy. Royals advances to third base, and he's 90 feet away. as the High Times look to score the first run of the game. So Royals advances to second on a ground ball from Smith that Jones had no chance to turn two on, and now advances to third on the wild pitch from Chambers. It's 1-2 on Littles with Royals at third. Swing and a miss. Strike three. Jalen Chambers, a massive strikeout. And there's now 2 outs. And the play will surely be at first base now, if there was any question before. It's Caden Irving, the catcher, steps in with 2 outs. No batting gloves on. He's grabbing the bat with bare hands and takes the first pitch inside, ball 1. Here's the next pitch. It's fouled off the end of Irving's bat. It's 1-1. Here's the 1-1 delivery, hit down the third base line and foul left of the third base bag. One and 2 on Irving, and time has been called and granted. One-two delivery. It's hit out into right center field. Javier going back. Instead, it's going to be Savage coming in to retire the side. So Jalen Chambers gets out of a jam. Tanner Royals is stranded on third base. We head into the third inning. Still no score between Kannapolis and the High Toms. You're tuned into Post 87's High Toms Playoff Baseball on High Tom TV. Back here at historic Finch Field. Top of the third, Brooks Hubbard first up for Kannapolis. Once again, thank everyone for joining. I'm Adam Oppenheim. For round 2 of the American Legion playoffs, Post 87 High Toms lead 1-0 over Kannapolis, 115. So that pitch is in for a strike. First game that these teams played, the High Toms went on the road and won in a 3-1 low-scoring victory. Here's the next pitch, just a little bit low. That was a game that happened last night. So a quick turnaround when these teams play Games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. That's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Dylan Story, his 4th strikeout, and they've all been swinging. That time it was Brooks Hubbard.
Now batting number 12, Aaron Jones.
Here is Aaron Jones. At the bottom of Kannapolis' lineup. So a couple lightning strikes have gone by Finch Fields. That's a swing and a miss, strike 1. So 1 out in the top of the 3rd. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Just inside, it's 1-1. So Dylan Stories records 7 outs. 4 of them have been strikeouts. 1 out in the top of the 3rd. 1-1 on Aaron Jones. Stories pitch in. Just misses the outside corner. It's 2-1. Two-one pitch to Jones. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Fastball flew by the bat of Jones. So it's even at 2 with 1 out. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's inside. Jones takes a hack at it, gets a piece of it, and fouls it right near the High Times dugout, just above and into the netting. Two and 2 on Jones. Story a sidestep and a delivery. Just a little bit low. As Irving trying to frame it to be a little bit higher. Our home plate umpire did not agree with him. So it's a full count. Here's Story's pitch. It's popped up and out of play behind home plate and into the concourse area, where it's a pretty good crowd for a post A7's game, and that's what it's been most of the year, and this one just upped a little bit with the playoff atmosphere. Full count delivery, we'll do it again. It's inside, ball 4, and Aaron Jones is aboard on the first walk that Dylan Story has issued.
Now batting number 14, Joe Javier.
It's Joe Javier in the top of the lineup for Kannapolis, post 115. And the second runner is aboard for Kannapolis. A single by Chambers in the first and a walk by Aaron Jones. Jones has a pretty good lead off first base, and Story checks back on Jones. He's back in time. Joe Javier struck out his first plate appearance. Takes the first pitch high. It's 1-0. One-0 pitch. Misses low and away. It's 2-0. With 1 out in the top of the 3rd. The runner on first being Aaron Jones, who just drew a 1-out walk. Two-0 pitch. Jones takes off. It's fouled off to the right side, so Jones will make the jog back to first base. Another toss back to first base. Jones gets back in time. No score in the top of the 3rd. This was expected to be a very low-scoring game, and it has been so far through only a pair of innings. 2-1 pitch to Javier. It's grounded down the first base line. Stanley will field and will now just toss to Story at first base for out number 2. So Stanley, a smart play instead of trying to go after Javier and tag him. Just flips it back to his pitcher Story, who's standing on the bag for the force out. And now a discussion between Luke Spivin, a couple of the umpires, over possible weather, I would guess, because there has been a little bit of lightning we've seen in the sky. Actually, more than a little bit. As all the players are now going to come off the field, and we might have a little bit of a weather delay here. So on that play, Aaron Jones, by the way, advanced to second, and there's 2 outs in the top of the 3rd. And we're going to see a possible delay here. And I will come back with more information when I get it, but as we know, it's some sort of weather delay for the moment. No score between Kannapolis Post 115 and the Post 87 High Toms. I'll be back as soon as I can when I get an update. You've been tuned into Post 87 High Toms Playoff Baseball on High Tom TV. We do have a lightning delay here at historic Finch Field. It'll be approximately 15 to 20 minutes that at least they need to wait, as it's within around 4 miles, that lightning strike. So once again, we'll be right back after this short break of 15 to 20 minutes. And after then, we'll give you an update if it goes any longer than that. Once again, no score between Kannapolis Post 115 and the Post 87 High Toms, as you're tuned into Post 87 Playoff Baseball on High Tom TV. Welcome back to historic Finch Field. As you can see, currently have a tarp on after there was a little bit of downpour. But we should get going here. Hopefully within the next 30 minutes, but we'll give you an update when we can. Once again, Kannapolis 115 in the post 87 High Toms. Timed at 0, runner on second with 2 outs. We'll be back as soon as we can with any updates or the resumption of the American Legion playoffs, round 2. Once again, you're listening to the Post 87's playoff game on High Tom TV. Welcome back into historic Finch Field. I'm Adam Oppenheim. We're back from a little weather delay that was around an hour long. But we are back with a runner on second for Kannapolis post 115 after it was originally a lightning strike labeled as a 15 to 20 minute delay, and then a little bit of rain that brought the tarp on for about half an hour. So here's the first pitch in, and it's fouled back. So it's 0-1. On Daniel Savage. Here's the next pitch on the inside corner from Story for a strike. It's 0-2. So it'll be interesting to see both Dylan Story and Jalen Chambers on the mound, presumably after the long rain delay. Can definitely have an effect to throw off the pitcher's timing. Here's the next pitch in. Swing and a miss, strike three, drop third strike. Irving throws down to Stanley to retire the side. So pretty long half inning, but it included an hour rain delay. So we head to the bottom of the third as Kannapolis strands a runner on second. Still no score between Kannapolis post 115 and the post 87 High Toms. You're tuned into American Legion Playoffs Round 2. Post 87 High Toms against Kannapolis post 115 on High Tom TV. Evan Goodwin will be first up for the High Toms in the bottom of the third. Sitting in the 9th spot today for post 87. This is his first at-bat of the game, and it's Jalen Chambers still on the mound. He's gone 2 innings so far. He's allowed 1 hit and 1 walk as his 2 base runners. First pitch into Goodwin is in the middle of the zone for a strike. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's fouled back into the nang. It's 0-2. 0-2 to Evan Goodwin. Jalen Chambers, the lefty, delivers the pitch. Rises high on a breaking ball. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's in the dirt. It's 2-2. Not a ton of base runners for either team. Like I mentioned, the High Toms have had 2. And Kannapolis has also had only 2 base runners. Here's a 2-2 pitch to Goodwin. That misses in the dirt again. It's 3-2. Three-two delivery from Chambers. It's hit over to the second baseman, Javier, who fields it off one hop. Throws over to first. It's a little bit low, but Helms cleans it up at first base for out number 1. So a big out there for Jalen Chambers because it brings up the top of the lineup in Yates Sykes, who grounded out to the second baseman, Javier, his first plate appearance. First pitch in. And that one's hit out to center field. Johnson will move in, and so will Hubbard. And it falls in front of both them, and it's a one-out single for Yates Sykes. So his speed is on the bases. And Luke Spiva, head coach of the Post-87 High Times, raves about his speed, as he usually has a good feel for trying to steal second and third base. So we'll see what Sykes does here, as it's Landon Mowry at the plate. First pitch to Mowry, squares around a bunt, pulls it back. It's low, ball 1. Quick throw back over to Sykes at first base. It's back in time. Jalen Chambers, the lefty, delivers high and tight. 2-0 on Mowry. 2-0 pitch to Landon Mowry. Fouls a pitch off down the third baseline. Not happy with himself because that would have been ball 3. It was a rising high. Two and one with one out on the high-time shortstop. Landon Mowry. Yates Sykes on first base. He is not going. The pitch is outside. It's 3-1. Definitely makes it a lot harder to steal, though, for Sykes off the lefty Chambers. Chambers will look to first, and the 3-1 pitch to Landon Mowry is hit on the ground to Javier. Flips over to second for one, on to first, and it's by the first baseman Helms, but it stays in play for the moment as Landon Mowry now makes the turn out towards second base, and he's going to be caught in a pickle. And he's tagged out in between first and second as Landon Mowry veered off into fair territory after crossing first base and was caught up and tagged out by Kannapolis post 115. To the High Toms. Some bad base running. And they leave no one on, although it's a double play for Kannapolis as Landon Mowry was caught up in a rundown. Still no score, though, as we head into the fourth inning between Kannapolis post 115 and the post 87 High Toms. You're tuned into American Legion Baseball Playoffs Round 2 and post 87 High Toms TV. Jalen Chambers will lead off the fourth inning. The pitcher and the DH for Kannapolis post 115. who has the only hit so far for Kannapolis, with a single back in the first. Takes the first pitch outside for a ball. Here's the 1-0 pitch. It's on the inside corner for a strike. If you just joined us, welcome into the broadcast. I'm Adam Oppenheim. For American Legion playoffs, round 2. It's the next pitch from Story's hit on the ground, and it's off Owen Smith's knee and into left field. It's going to be a base hit. Could be ruled to air as well. But either way, Chambers is on first base for the second time today. But like I was saying, it's round 2 of American Legion playoffs. The High Times won in the first round against Moxville Davie. 2-0 the series score. The score in this series is 1-0 in the best of 5 after the High Times went to Kannapolis and won the game 3-1 yesterday, as that's bunted by Zach Helm. Story throws back to second, and Goodwin was able to hold on to the bag. What a nifty play by the pitcher and the second baseman, Dylan Story, to cut down the lead runner, Chambers. It goes 1-4, and the High Times get the lead out. So now it will be Helms on first base and Brett Morris at the plate. First pitch in. It's driven down the first base line, headed foul. Right into the High Times bullpen. About 250, 260 down the right field line. So 1 out in the inning for Morris, who's down to 0-1 count to Dylan Story, the Wingate commit. Here's the pitch. Just a little bit low. It's 1-1. 1-1 pitch to Morris. It's a breaking ball. It's chopped down the third base line, but foul. So it's 1-2. Morris flew out to right field his first plate appearance. That came back in the second. If you just joined us, there was a rain delay that lasted about an hour in the third inning. That started with just a lightning delay and then a rain, as that one's on the ground to Landon Mowry. Flips over to second for one. Goodwin on to first. Scooped out by Stanley. It's a double play. A great defensive play by the High Times. It goes Mowry, Goodwin, Stanley, 6-4-3, inning-ending double play. And we head into the bottom of the fourth. Still no score between Kannapolis post 115 and the post 87 High Times. You're tuned into post 87 High Times playoff baseball on High Times TV. It's Wyatt Stanley first up for Post 87 in the bottom of the fourth against Jalen Chambers. Stanley completed the 6-4-3 double play with a nice scoop out of the dirt to end the top of the fourth. And now will be first up. And he had a base hit his last at-bat. It's one of 2 hits for the High Toms. They've reached base 3 times total in the game. First pitch to Stanley. It's on the outside corner for a strike. So 0-1 on Wyatt Stanley. Bottom of the fourth. In a 7-inning contest. High Toms took game 1 looking for a commanding 2-0 lead, as that's a swing and a miss. Strike 2. And Kannapolis post 115 looking to tie the series here at the home of the Post 87 High Toms. But right now, it's 0-2 on Wyatt Stanley. Jalen Chambers delivers. It's behind Stanley, who bends down to get out of the way. 1-2 with no outs in the bottom of the fourth. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's hit on the ground sharply to Javier at second base, who bobbles it and not able to make the play. It's going to be error on the second baseman, Joe Javier. Is a little bobble cost him, as Wyatt Stanley will reach for the second time. This one will be on an E4. Javier not happy with himself as he slammed his glove to the dirt. So that brings up Bryce Hooker, and the High Toms have a leadoff runner on. All these little plays in playoff games make a big difference. Here's Chambers' first pitch to Hooker. It's in the dirt, ball 1. And certainly once you get to this stage of the playoffs, in round 2, it's a lot of good teams you're facing. The expectation about the Post 87 High Toms is going all the way and trying to win state, as that's in the dirt and by Coy, and Stanley will advance towards second. So the High Toms now have a runner in scoring position, a 2-0 count on Bryce Hooker with no outs. And now Coy will discuss with Chambers possibly a little bit of a cross-up, because Coy was not particularly close to that ball, although it was in the dirt. Both pitchers have looked strong. Dylan Story for Post 87 and Jalen Chambers for Kannapolis Post 115. That swung on and missed. An elevated fastball, it's 2-1. Stanley on second. Here's the 2-1 delivery. It's hit up the middle and by the glove of Aaron Jones and into center field. Stanley's going to get the wave home. He's going to score. Post 87's on the board first. It's an RBI single from Bryce Hooker. The first run of the game is an unearned run that started with an error and ends with a single for Bryce Hooker that knocks in Wyatt Stanley for the first run of Game 2 of the American Legion Playoffs Round 2. Here's the pitch to Royals. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Royals walked his last at-bat. Here comes the 0-1 pitch to Royals. It's in the dirt. And Chambers losing a little bit of his command right now. And that ball that Hooker hit just got by the glove of the shortstop Aaron Jones, who laid out for it. So check back on Hooker at first. Back in time. How about one more over to first? And the rain has seemed to hold off, and it was really just the worry about the first 15 to 20 minutes since we started. Otherwise, the radar looks fairly good. 1-1 on Royals. Another throw over towards first base. It's now 4 towards Bryce Hooker. Make it 5. Not sure how often you see this in one at-bat. There's definitely rules in the MLB to not have this happen all the time, but definitely worried about Bryce Hooker's speed. There's no doubt about it. Here's the next delivery to Royals, and it's fouled off. It's 1-2. Here's the 1-2 pitch. It's in the dirt. It's 2-2. Two and two on Tanner Royals. Here's the pitch. It's a fastball that's high. It's 3-2. Jalen Chambers looking to limit the damage, but right now it's a full count. A runner on first being Bryce Hooker, and no outs in the bottom of the 4th. Here's the full count pitch. It's chopped on the ground. And Luke Spiva, manager of the Post A7 High Times, makes a nice catch, but it's a foul ball. So it stays with 2 strikes. A very intense-filled game between these two teams. Another full count pitch. It's outside. Ball 4. Great at-bat by Tanner Royals. And the High Times have first and second still with no outs. Royals walks for the second time today, and it brings up Owen Smith. But first, we're going to have a meeting on the mound. No one warming up in the Kannapolis bullpen. And they'll stick with Jalen Chambers. First and second, no outs. For the Belmont Abbey commit, Owen Smith. Hooker on second, who knocked in the first run as that ball's in the dirt. And he'll advance both runners. So instead of first and second, it's second and third. As Bryce Hooker moves on down to third. And Tanner Royals, after he walks, he moves down to second on that wild pitch. So now 2 in scoring position in Post A7, looking to open up an early lead. But not super early because you're already past the halfway mark. And that will draw the Kannapolis infield in. As it's 1-0 to Smith. Here's the pitch. Fouled back. It's 1-1. And just got word from our good friend who works for the High Times, David Katzenmeyer, at the Post A7 High Times dugout. Is pretty electric right now. And for good reason, a 1-0 lead. And looking to add on more after having a 1-0 series lead as that pitch is fouled off. It's 1-2 on Owen Smith. 1-2 delivery. Swing and a miss. Strike 3, and Jalen Chambers picks up a massive strikeout. So the 4th batter of the inning finally yields out for Jalen Chambers, and it brings up Jake Little. Here's the pitch. It's outside. I'm going to look down to Hooker at third base. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Little. It misses outside. It's 2-0 with 1 out. Bryce Hooker on third base, who had the RBI single that knocked him Wyatt Stanley for the first run of the game. And Tanner Royals, who walked, is at second base. 2-0 to Little. Squares around a bunt, lays it down. No one's going to be covering home. Another run's going to score. It's Bryce Hooker. As there was some confusion between who was going to cover home on Kannapolis as the bunt went right in front of Coy. It's going to be an RBI single from Jake Little on a bunt, and it's 2-0 post 87. What a smart play as both the pitcher, catcher, and third baseman converge, being Chambers, Coy, and Morris, and no one covered home, and Hooker was ready to sprint home. As Little takes off for second, he'll steal it easily with no throw. And the High Times are back to second and third with still 1 out, but this time at 2-0. Infield is back in for Kannapolis. Here's the pitch. It's hit on the ground to Morris. Morris is going to go home. They're going to cut down Royals at home for the second out of the inning. So a big play by Kannapolis post 115 as it goes Brett Morris to Connor Coy to cut down Royals. High Times still have first and second with 2 outs, though. And it's Evan Goodwin who takes the first pitch away, ball 1. It's a 1-0 to Evan Goodwin. Takes the pitch inside. It's 2-0. It's 2-0 on Goodwin. Takes the pitch outside. It's 3-0. On Evan Goodwin. 2 runners on. Squares around a bunt, pulls it back, and takes a strike. So Jake Little is at second base, while Caden Irving stands on first. That pitch is swung through and missed. It's a full count with 2 outs, and the runners will be on the move. Chambers, full count pitch to Goodwin. It's low, ball 4, and the bases are loaded for post 87. An opportunity to blow the game open, and it's Yates Sykes at the plate, who had a single his last at-bat. Chambers, first pitch into lefty Sykes on the outside corner, strike 1. Little on third. Irving on second. Goodwin on first base. Yates Sykes, the Western Carolina commit, is at the plate. The 0-1 delivery to Sykes. It's a breaking ball that way high. It's 1-1. One and one on Sykes. Nowhere to put him. 1-1 pitch. It's high and inside. And it's 2-1 on Sykes. Bases loaded. 2-0 High Times scored both the runs in this inning. That's a swing and a miss, strike 2. Sykes chases the upstairs fastball. Two and two with 2 outs. Bases loaded in a 2-0 ball game. Chambers delivery. It's fouled off down the third base line. got in on the hands of Sykes, but he stays alive. A chance to break the game open. 2-2 pitch. On the outside corner, strike 3. Sykes doesn't like it. And Chambers gets out of the inning as Luke Spiva gives some words to our home plate umpire. But the High Toms score 2 runs in the inning. An RBI single from Bryce Hooker and an RBI bunt single from Jake Little. And the post-87 High Toms lead 2-0 as we head into the 5th inning between Kannapolis post-115 and the post-87 High Toms in round 2 of the American Legion Baseball Playoffs. You're tuned into post-87's playoff baseball on High Tom TV. Welcome back to Finch Field, and we do have some scoring on the board with the post-87 High Toms scoring 2 in the bottom of the 4th. Dylan Story still on the mound. First pitch is high to Connor Coy after Morris grounded into an inning-ending double play in the top of the 4th. 1-0 to the catcher Coy. Story's delivery, swing and a miss, strike 1. But the inning ended with the High Toms trailing the bases loaded as Yates Sykes took a strike on the outside corner that he and his head coach Luke Spiva did not agree with. So that's on the outside corner, strike 2. But the High Toms got a pair of runs. And with the Ray Dylan Story on the mound, have to be feeling pretty good about themselves. With Story pitching. 1-1 pitch. It's fouled back into the netting. It's 1-2. One and two on the leadoff hitter, Coy. Kannapolis looking for some base runners on. 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball. Inside corner. Strike 3. And there's one down in the 5th.
Now batting number 25, Jaden Johnson.
6 strikeout for Story. And the first looking. That brings up Jaden Johnson. Grounded out to Landon Mowry at shortstop. His first time up. First pitch in is driven into left field. It will send Royals back. It's going to be over his head and go all the way to the wall. Johnson trips around first base but has no trouble getting into second base with a 1-out double. An opposite field ball that was tagged and past the left fielder Tanner Royals. And like I mentioned, Kannapolis getting base runners aboard. They get one here, and it's the first extra base hit for Kannapolis, or either team, rather. And they have a runner at second base. Brooks Hubbard's up, and a 2-0 ball game as Post 87 leads. Stories, first pitch to Hubbard, swing and a miss, strike one on an elevated fastball. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's outside. It's 1-1 on Hubbard. In the fifth inning of the 7-8 contest, where Post 87 leads 1-0 in a best-of-5 series, for a chance to go to the Area 3 Finals, and then state, as that pitch is inside. It's 2-1. Kannapolis trying to close the deficit. And look at a score-off story for the first time. 2-1 pitch on the outside corner, strike two. Very similar spot to how the bottom of the fourth ended a pitch that looks a bit outside, but has been called to strike tonight quite a few times. Two-two pitch. Breaking ball goes way outside, and it's a full count with one out in the top of the fifth. The left-hand here, Brooks Hubbard, who struck out his last plate appearance, faces a full count delivery, and it's outside, ball four. And it's first and second with one out, and that brings manager Luke Spiva out to the mound to talk with his pitcher Dylan Story. As after he struck out Connor Coy looking, it was a Jaden Johnson double to the left field wall, and then a walk for Brooks Hubbard. And that's where we are in this game now. And we do apologize also with first base not working today, as you can see by our score bug. So we do apologize for that. But I can assure you it's first and second with one out. And you will see Brooks Hubbard standing over at first base after he takes his lead. It's Aaron Jones, who walked his last plate appearance in the 9 spot and looking to deliver for Kannapolis. Story after the meeting, first pitch in. It's a breaking ball on the inside corner, strike one. Oh, and 1 on Aaron Jones. Here's the pitch. Tried to check his swing, but he went around on a frisbee that went outside the zone. But he swung, so it's 0-2 with one out, first and second. 0-2 delivery to Jones. Swing and a miss, strike three. Same pitch, same result. Dylan Story gives a little bit of that sword motion, and it's the second strikeout and the second out of the inning. 7 strikeouts for Story across 4 2/3. So half the batters he's faced, he's struck out. And now it's Joe Javier in the top of the lineup. Still first and second, now with 2 outs. First pitch into Javier is a breaking ball, and it's looped up into right center field. Yates Sykes will come on, and he'll call it in front of Jake Little to end the inning. So Dylan Story gets out of a jam. First and second, 1 out. Gives up no runs. Kannapolis strands 2 in the inning. It's still 2-0 Post 87 High Times as we head to the bottom of the 5th. You're tuned into Post 87 High Times Playoff Baseball on High Time TV. Landon Mowry first up for the High Toms. First pitch, swinging and missing. Against Jalen Chambers. He's now working into the 5th inning. Swing and a miss, strike 2 on Landon Mowry, who had some unusual swings today that we usually don't see from him. He seems to be a little bit fooled by the delivery of the lefty Chambers. Ground out to second base, his first plate appearance. 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 pitches, and Landon Mowry strikes out swinging.
Now batting number 14, Wyatt Stanley.
Wyatt Stanley's up next. What a single his first plate appearance and started the bottom of the 4th with the error on the second baseman, Joe Javier. The first pitch was in for a strike. Here's the next pitch. Misses away. It's 1-1. 1-1 pitch to Stanley. It's a beautiful breaking ball. Ends up right in the heart of the plate. 1-2 on Stanley. At Finch Field. On a later evening than I expected. As that pitch misses inside, it's 2-2 after about an hour rain delay. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's fouled off and out of play. Two and 2 on Wyatt Stanley. Here's the 2-2 pitch. It's driven out into right field. Daniel Savage will come on and he'll make the catch for out number 2. It's Bryce Hooker up now with 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th. High Times scored 2 in the bottom of the 5th, but still a very minimal lead in this game. First pitch into Hooker. It's off the glove coin to the backstop. It's ball 1. A game that has felt the intensity from the start. The rain delay might have escalated that a little bit with everyone eager to get back out on the field. The 1-0. It's outside. It's 2-0. Two-0 pitch to Hooker. Swing and a miss. Strike 1. Pitch that was a little bit low. Hooker goes fishing. Two-one pitch to Bryce Hooker. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. Looked like he wanted to stop his swing in the middle, but already went around. So the count's even at 2 with 2 outs in a 2-0 game. Here's the 2-2 pitch. On the inside corner. Strike 3. Hooker looks down at the umpire, but he is rung up on strikes to retire the side. So Jalen Chambers bounces back and goes 1-2-3 with 2 strikeouts in the inning as we head into the 6th inning. And Kannapolis post 115 is down to 6 outs to get a couple runs on the board. We'll be right back after the short break as you're tuned into post 87 High Times Playoff Baseball on High Time TV. Daniel Savage will be first up for Kannapolis post 115, looking for another rally against Dylan Story, who's now in his 6th inning of work. He's gone 5 innings so far. He has allowed no runs, 2 hits, and 3 other base runners have been aboard, 2 being a walk, 1 being an error. That swung on and missed, strike 2. It's 0-2. And 7 strikeouts. And looking for his 8th. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Daniel Savage. It's looped down to center field. Yates Sykes will run over to his left and he'll make the catch. He covers that ground really quickly. And it's a fly out to the center fielder, Sykes.
Now batting number 11, Jalen Chambers.
Story getting a lot of the hitters from Kannapolis off balance, getting ahead in the counts, and a lot of guessing right now for Kannapolis. As it's Jalen Chambers, the pitcher and the designated hitter, who takes a first pitch strike, and he's given it all he's got in this game. He's allowed just a couple of runs, but 1 is at least unearned on the air that started it all. That's a swing and a miss, strike 2. It's 0-2 on Jalen Chambers. 0-2 pitch from Story. Chambers takes it high. It's 1-2. One-two pitch, breaking ball, just misses a bit low and possibly away, and the count's even at 2. On the pitcher, Chambers. He reached down a single and an error. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, misses low. It's a full count, and Chambers threatening to reach for the 3rd time today, in the 3rd different way. Story, a rocker step, and a fire, and it's fouled off down the left side. Full count pitch, misses outside, ball 4, and Jalen Chambers has been aboard 3 times. A single, an error, and now a walk. And Kannapolis has a runner on.
Now batting number 10, Zach Helms.
Zach Helms, the cleanup man, will be up next, who's 0 for 2, including a strikeout. So Chambers will be on first base. First pitch in. It's inside, ball 1. Game 2, round 2 of the American Legion playoffs. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Post 87 leads 1-0 after a 3-1 win yesterday. One and one on Helms. Pitches outside. Looking to backpick Chambers. Will not be in time. Here's the catcher, Caden Irving. Two and one on Helms. Chambers takes off for second. Got a great jump. Pitches in for a strike. And he was already jogging towards second base as Helms strikes out swinging. But Story was already in his motion and it would have been a balk. So Chambers was way off first base and just easily jogged into second. So the runner's in scoring position. Rather, the runner is in scoring position, being Jalen Chambers for Brett Morris. Looking to get Kannapolis on the board. Story's first pitch. It's low. It's 1-0. So Story picks up his 8th strikeout of the game and his 7th swinging. 1-0 pitch to Morris. It's hit on the ground to Landon Mowry, who tries to get the runner in a run down at third base and tosses over to Smith to retire the runner Chambers. So a bit of a risky play, but it worked out for Landon Mowry, getting Chambers caught up between second and third. High Toms still maintain a 2-run lead as Dylan Story's gone 6 innings with 8 strikeouts and allowed no runs. We head into the bottom of the 6th. Post 87 still leads. It's 2-0. You're tuned into Post 87 High Toms playoff baseball on High Tom TV. Tanner Royals first up for the High Toms in the bottom of the 6th. Takes the first pitch in the dirt, ball 1. And you guessed it, Jalen Chambers back out on the mound for the 6th inning. It's been a battle between him and Story. The only difference has been the bottom of the 4th where the High Toms scored 2 runs. As that pitch is away, it's 2-0 and high. But Jalen Chambers, the Surrey Community College commit, has been impressive, and so was the Wingate commit, Dylan Story. That pitch is on the inside corner. It's 2-1. And that's a lot of times why you throw your ace out there, is to throw most of the game. And in a 7-inning game, sometimes it means going the entire way. And we'll see what manager Luke Spiva decides about the 7th. But I have to assume maybe you save some arms and throw Story back out there for the 7th inning. Pitch was inside on Tanner Royals. It's 3-1. 3-1 pitch. It's on the outside corner, strike 2. Full count pitch to Tanner Royals. It's taken low. And Royals has walked for the 3rd time today. 3 at-bats, 3 walks. And Chambers has only walked 4 total in the game, and 3 have been Royals. And it brings up Owen Smith, who's 0 for 2. And the High Toms looking to add on to the lead with Royals at first base. Smith squares around a bunt, pulls back, and is now swinging and hits it into center field. Jaden Johnson is under it, and he'll make the catch. Didn't have to move too much. So Owen Smith tries to pull the bunt back and swing, and got under it just a little bit. So 1 out in the inning after the fly out to center field. And that brings up Jake Little when an RBI single on a bunt back in the bottom of the 4th where 3 Kannapolis players converged. And none were covering home as Bryce Hooker came in to score. The first pitch, it's a breaking ball for a strike. Oh, 1 pitch to Little. That one's hit out to right field. That's going to get down. It's going to be extra bases. Little's going to head for second. And they're going to send Royals home. There will be no throw towards home. Little will be into third base. It's an RBI triple, and it's 3-0 post 87. Jake Little is delivered in two different ways, one being a bunt single in the bottom of the fourth, this one being a line drive into right field for an RBI triple. And a two-hit game from Little has propelled the High Times to a 3-run lead and will lead to a pitching change for Kannapolis post 115. We'll get the new pitcher and more for post 115 right after this break. After Jake Little, it's an RBI triple. It's 3-0 HPT. You're tuned into post 87 High Times playoff baseball on High Time TV. Welcome back to historic Finch Field. New pitcher on the mound, number 21, Will Hallmeyer, who's subbing in for Jalen Chambers after 6 1/3. And going around is K. Irving, so it's 0-2 on Irving with 1 out. 1 run already in the inning after the RBI triple by Jake Little down the right field line. Savage was playing way off that line, and that's where the ball was hit. Here's the next pitch, fouled into the netting. So it stays at 2 strikes for Hallmeyer. It's 1-2 to Irving with the infield in. And it's a ball outside. Brings the count to 2-2, I believe, with 1 out and a runner on third. Post A7 leads 3-0. Pitch to Irving. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Hallmeyer gets Irving to chase out of the zone for a big second out of the inning. And it brings up Evan Goodwin with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Jalen Chambers really had a fantastic outing. He went 6 1/3, but it's not gotten a ton of run support. And a lot of that is due to Dylan Story's pitching. He's been excellent. The High Times ace has gone 6 scoreless with 8 strikeouts. And obviously, the no runs allowed is the biggest stat. 1-0 on Goodwin. Here's the pitch. It's high and possibly inside. It's 2-0. 2-0 pitch. Rides inside. It's 3-0 on Evan Goodwin with Yates Sykes on deck. Looking to get a little bit of payback after he struck out with the bases loaded in the bottom of the fourth. 3-0 pitch to Goodwin. Misses high and inside. And an easy 4-pitch walk to Evan Goodwin. And Hallmeyer is in some trouble. And he's going to face the lefty Sykes with runners on the corners and 2 outs. Goodwin's second walk of the game. Sykes is 1 for 3 with a base hit. Little on third base, Goodwin on first. Pitch is right above the head of Sykes. It's 1-0.
Now batting number 15, Yates Sykes.
5 straight balls for Hallmeyer. Looking to get one in the zone. 1-0 pitch. Taken for a strike. Runners on the corners, 2 outs, 1 already in the inning for the High Toms. It's a 3-0 lead in the bottom of the 6th. Here's the pitch. A breaking ball, it's in for a strike. And post A7, after this inning, we're going to be 3 outs away from maintaining a 2-0 lead, or grabbing a 2-0 lead, rather, in round 2 of the American Legion playoffs as Goodwin just jogs over towards second base and now is going to be caught up in a rundown. And Hallmeyer is just going to let Goodwin stroll into second base. They didn't want to risk Little coming home. So Goodwin with a interesting little jog, and he comes home. Here's the 1-2. It's in the dirt. It's 2-2. So now 2 runners in scoring position, and all 2's on the scoreboard. With 2 outs, 2 strikes, 2 balls on Yates Sykes. Hallmeyer delivers the 2-2 pitch, a breaking ball that misses inside. The count is full with first base open. And the High Toms can really nearly put this game away with a couple more runs. Full count pitch. It's upstairs, ball 4 on Sykes, and the bases are loaded for the second time in this game. Brings up Landon Mowry, who is 0 for 2 against Chambers, so looking forward to facing Hallmeyer here with the bases loaded. Little's at third, Goodwin's at second, Sykes is at first. First pitch to Mowry is swung on and tagged into the right center gap. It's going to score 1, and Little. Goodwin's going to score. Sykes is going to be waved around. It's going to be in time to get Sykes. It's a 2 RBI double, and Sykes was called out at home plate. But the High Toms grab 2 runs on the RBI extra base hit by Landon Mowry. And although Yates Sykes was thrown out the plate, the post 87s have a 5-0 lead as we head into the 7th inning. High Toms have a 1-0 lead, looking for 2-0, and it's Dylan Story back out on the mound. We'll be right back after this as we're tuned into post 87's playoff baseball on High Toms TV. Top of the 7th and the last chance for Kannapolis post 115 to extend the game into the bottom of this inning. They need at least 5 runs off of Dylan Story, who's gone 6 scoreless, the Wingate commit, and has 8 strikeouts so far after the High Toms tacked down a 3-run bottom of the 6th. Jake Little tripled and knocked in a run, and it was a Landon Mowry 2 RBI double to put Post A7 up 5-0. And it's going to be Connor Coy first up for Kannapolis, the catcher. First pitch to Coy, swing and a miss, strike one. Story has been able to keep the pitch count pretty low as well, considering he's gone 7 innings. Has not allowed a ton of runners to reach base. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Coy. Just outside, it's 1-1. He's allowed 5 total runners to reach, 3 walks, a double, and an error. And actually a single as well. So 6 as that's fouled off and out of play. So it's 1-2 now. And about as good of an outing as you can ask for. Allowing just 2 hits and 4 other base runners, 3 being walks. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Coy. It's hit on the ground. Owen Smith dives. He can't make the play. It's into left field, and it's a leadoff hit for Connor Coy. So that's hit number 3 of the game for Kannapolis.
Now batting number 25, Jaden Johnson.
It's Jaden Johnson up, who had a double his last at-bat over Tanner Royals in left field. So leadoff runner's on. Here's the first pitch. It's way outside and high, and it's lost for a second by Irving, and Coy scoots on to second base. And if you missed the start of the game, it was a very close game that was tied at 0 for most of the game. And even through a rain delay, that was about an hour in the 3rd inning until the High Toms broke it open with 2 in the bottom of the 4th, and most recently 3 in the bottom of the 6th. And Dylan Story has been the story of the game, going 6 scoreless, but now losing a little bit of command. It starts 2-0 on Jaden Johnson. And the High Toms do have someone warming up in the bullpen if they do need some help. But right now, you added on the 3 runs in the bottom of the 6th. Manager Luke Spiva trying to save some bullpen arms, I'm sure. Or starter arms, for that matter. So Coy's on second base with no outs in the top of the 7th. Kannapolis down to their final 3 outs. Here's the pitch. It's chopped on the ground to Landon Mowry, who charges, fields, and fires to first for out number 1. Johnson's retired, and it brings up Brooks Hubbard with 1 out as Coy moves to third base. Hubbard is 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk in this game. So only the 3rd at-bats for Kannapolis post 115, and that's just shown the struggle they've had on offense so far as a baseball is going to come onto the field and right into your view. That came all the way from the bullpen, and you can see them reacting, turning towards the field, knowing that ball was going to head straight for home plate, which it did. So the lefty Hubbard faces the righty Story. His first delivery on the outside corner, strike 1. Oh, 1 pitch. It's fouled off to the left side. It's 0-2 on Brooks Hubbard. Dylan Story. It's North Carolina rank, the class of 2023. Was 91st overall and was the 30th right-handed pitcher. Played for High Point Christian Academy, which is where quite a few of these post A7 players have come from. It's 0-2 on Hubbard. Here's the pitch, a breaking ball on the lower part of the zone. Strike 3 called. And Dylan Story has 9 strikeouts through 6 2/3. 9 out of the 20 outs have been strikeouts. Here's Aaron Jones, the last hope for Kannapolis. First pitch in. It's a pitch in the dirt, ball 1. It's going to be a picture-perfect ending for Dylan Story to grab that 10th strikeout, grab the complete game shutout. Kannapolis at least trying to ruin his scoreline for now as that pitch is swung on and missed, strike 1. Jones 0 for 1 in the game. He has been walked. It's 1-1 to Jones with Coy on third base. Swing and a miss. Strike 2. And Kannapolis post 115 is down to their final strike. One and 2 on Jones. Story is set on the mound. 1-2 pitch. It's driven in center field. Tanner Royals is looking to come on. It's going to drop in front of him, and Kannapolis is on the board on the RBI single by Aaron Jones, the last hope for Kannapolis, and they're still alive. And that will bring Luke Spiva out onto the mound. And it's going to be, I believe, a call to the pen. And Dylan Story with a heck of a performance in round 2 of the American Legion playoffs, going 6 2/3 with 9 strikeouts, allows the 1 run. And we'll get a new High Times pitcher looking to close it out in the top of the 7th right after this, as you're tuned into Post 87 High Times playoff baseball on High Time TV. Welcome back to the top of the 7th inning with 2 outs. Trace Oftahar is on the mound for the Post 87 High Times, looking to close out a Dylan Story masterclass, with the runner on first being Aaron Jones after he knocked in Connor Coy on an RBI single. Still 5-1 High Times, and down their final out is Javier in Kannapolis. Takes the first pitch a little bit high, ball 1. Trace Oftahar committed to play baseball at Catawba College, and also pitches at High Point Christian, like Story. So that pitch is on the inside corner. It's a strike. It's 1-1. One and one on Javier. Takes the pitch high. It's 2-1. Still down to their final outs. Kannapolis posts 115. High Times maintain a 1-0 lead in the series. That pitch is in for a strike, and the High Times are 1 strike away from going up 2-0 in round 2 of the American Legion playoffs. Trace Oftahar looking to close out the game. 2-2 on Javier. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. The High Times close it out and go up 2-0 in the series against Kannapolis post 115. As Trace Oftahar closes it out, but it all started with Dylan Story and his 6 2/3. They have the High Times go up 2-0 in the series. It was a tale of 2 innings for the Post 87 High Times. It was the bottom of the 4th. That was an RBI single by Bryce Hooker and an RBI bunt single by Jake Little. In the bottom of the 6th, the High Times got much-needed insurance after an RBI triple from Jake Little and a 2 RBI double from Landon Mowry. And that was all behind the High Times starting pitcher, Dylan Story, who went 6 2/3. And the High Times are 1 out away in this best of 5 from sweeping it and moving on to the Area 3 finals. 5-1 is your final between Post 87 and Kannapolis Post 115. Thank you for tuning into the broadcast from historic Finch Field. I'm Adam Oppenheim. Once again, the final score, Kannapolis Post 115 1, the Post 87 High Times 5, and Post 87 improves to now 2-0 against Kannapolis Post 115 in a best of 5 series. Tomorrow's game will also be at Finch Field for Game 3. Once again, thank you for tuning in. 5-1 is your final. Post 87 wins. I'm Adam Oppenheim. Thank you for tuning in here as you're watching Post 87 High Times playoff baseball on High Time TV. Have a great night, everybody.